I just have a feeling that the international break came at the wrong time for Chelsea. They were finally getting a little bit of form.
Yeah.
A couple of wins on the bounce, and then he ended with a draw. So they were unbeaten in about 4 games, if I remember correctly. He probably wanted to keep the team together, Graham Potter.
Well, I think for sure. If you're on a bit of a run, the last thing you want is an international break. If you're on a bad run, then maybe it comes in handy just to change it up a little bit. But, you know, if Chelsea were still owned by their previous owners, Graham Potter wouldn't be there any longer, would he? Let's be honest, he's had a torrid time. I know he's come in under difficult circumstances with new owners and, you know, players being signed left, right and centre, but, you know, the buck does have to stop with the head coach. And I think anybody looking at it since Graham Potter's been there would say, well, you know, so far he has not succeeded.
Final thing then on Chelsea, because this puzzles me a bit. When he was at Brighton, he did a magnificent job and they were playing very attractive football, but they were known as the XG Kings. They would always create chances, but they were never able to finish. You could say it's a personnel, OK. He goes to Chelsea and they're struggling to score goals, which they kind of did under Tuchel as well. But I see what De Zerbi's doing at Brighton. Even in his first game in charge when they took on Liverpool and they were scoring goals. They scored 3 today. And maybe I'm being unfair, maybe I'm generalising too much, so I'm just thinking, is it something with the manager?
Well, as I said, the buck stops with the manager, but I can remember hearing Graham Potter in interviews at Brighton, and so often he would mention the hardest part of the game is scoring goals. And his team tended to prove that. So I haven't heard him so much at Chelsea say it, but you know, if you believe it's hard to score goals, then that's kind of the information that you tend to pass over to your team. And actually, that's what Chelsea are finding it very hard to do as well, aren't they? Score goals.
Yeah, that's great.
You know, you get what you promote.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I also think it's different to wear this Chelsea shirt and to coach a Chelsea team. It's a different type of players that you get at Chelsea, and to create something at those bigger teams where the expectation is higher, to win every single game, is harder. There's a different way of managing those type of players.
I mean, it's very difficult to compare 2 clubs because the Chelsea, it's a much bigger club and they've spent so much money in the transfer windows and they brought in very expensive players. I think they are not, at least not yet, showing that they are able to really change things around. They don't create enough chances, in my opinion. They didn't bring in a natural number 9, which will probably help in that regard. They still concede too many goals easily, like the one we just saw. Something's missing. Yeah. They just don't look a good side to what they've, you know, assembled with the money they've spent. I just don't see something's missing. Something's still missing.
You do also question whether the players respect Graham Potter as a manager, given his track record as a player and as a manager where he was before, compared to some of the other stars which Chelsea have had. Gary, because you're a bit of a Nostradamus, saying that they're missing something, Lukaku. Yeah. Do you reckon next year he could come and be the difference for Chelsea? With a new manager, Tuchel's gone.
Well, hasn't he had that opportunity already?
Well, Tuchel was there and then he left, but now Tuchel's gone. And when his loan expires, he'll be back at the club. He's still a Chelsea player. He's only on loan back in Italy. Sure. So he could come back. Maybe Inter don't want him back. Maybe they can't afford it. So if he's at Chelsea, do you reckon he can make a difference?
Well, when you look at Lukaku and the qualities that he's got, and he's proved it in the past at other clubs, that he can lead the line, he can be the number 9, he is the goal scorer. So, yes, of course, he could. But
Nostradamus says...
No.
No. OK, there you have the answer. We've heard it from Gary. He's getting everything right. Let's see if his trend continues.